Welcome back to the channel today, guys, for part 2 of the Forger's Vacation of Mayhem in Spy X Family today. And man, have I told you guys how much I love this arc? Because I really do. It's so good. We just get to expand upon Yor's character, really flush her out, and it's just a great time altogether. In our previous episodes, we saw that this cruise ship might be a little bit dangerous. Oh, but don't worry, the danger's just gonna ramp up. So honestly, let's just get straight into it today because we got a lot to talk about as we jump into Spy X Family episodes 7 and 8 today. Our episode begins immediately where our last one left off, with Yor protecting Shaddy and her baby here, as we see a sickle-wielding assassin. Doesn't want that to happen. Who the hell uses a sickle, by the way? As Yor even says, that's a weapon I don't see very often. It'd be difficult to run away with both of them. So in this instance, she charges forward at him, but he's not making it easy to get close, always making her stay at a distance. As she says, he's quite skilled at using his weapon. And it's here we see that a crowd is starting to form. The worst thing for an assassin. As Yor says, we're definitely bringing attention to ourselves. What do I do? This is going to cause a huge commotion. As we suddenly hear from the crowd, wow, this is amazing. As Yor's like, Anya, what are you doing here? As Anya's like, wow, the lady from the circus is so cool, everyone. Look, the circus. As the whole crowd immediately says, oh, it's a street performance on a boat somehow. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. As Yor's like, Anya really just saved my ass here. It appears Anya doesn't recognize me either. Unlikely. As Yor starts thinking, this hallway has nothing I can use as cover. There's a crowd watching us, and behind me, the ones I want to protect. This is difficult. I can't get close to him at all. But as our fight continues, Yor suddenly realizes that that's not what's going on here. As she says, my legs are heavy. Why? I'm hesitating to step forward? I don't even have to worry about a severe injury with a weapon like that. As we hear from the sidelines, hurry and beat that guy, lady! Hurry and beat that guy up before Papa comes out, mama! As Yor says, screw it, I'll just have to risk getting hit, grab his chain, and pull him down. As she realizes, no, I gotta kind of make this showy or everyone's gonna become suspicious. And it's here our assassin even realizes, I messed up. Now there's a ton of people watching. Maybe I'll just mow her down along with everyone else here. But it's in that one moment of consideration, or thinking here, he took his eyes off Yor. And she makes every second of that count. As she stabs his chain into the ground with her thorn, catches another side of it, jumps over him, wrapping his own chain around him in the process, and hits several of his pressure points, knocking him out as she lands with a graceful bow. As everyone just starts clapping like, yeah, let's go, money well spent, baby. My kid's college fund, forget that. As Anya says, Mama's terrifying. I think I'll start listening to her a little more from now on. But it's here she remembers, oh wait, Papa, that's right. As she rushes back and says, I was able to help Mama and complete the mission without Papa finding out. Whew. Hero Anya cannot contain her excitement from this epic adventure. But as Lloyd comes out the dressing room with the most tacky, ridiculous getup imaginable, he says, I'll take it all. And Anya tells him, could you be any lamer? Yikes. As Lloyd is shook here like, I don't understand this girl. And it's here as we transition to our next scene, we hear, man, just how crazy was this domestic disturbance over there. Jeez. Thank goodness there wasn't a murderer on this cruise. But little do they know, they just walked past a professional in his line of work. And it's here as he makes their way into their former room, he takes a deep breath and says, Blue Lace number 89 and Mermaid Eau de Toilette. These are different fragrances than the ones I noticed at the mansion. I guess she changed that along with her face. There were at least 2 women and 1 man. I guess the woman who had no scent was the bodyguard. As he suddenly says, "It's me. Where are they headed?" And our info broker says, "I don't know. There's a high chance they've snuck into the 2nd or 3rd class rooms." As we hear, "I guess I'll plant someone there." Considering the ship's route, they're probably going to try to defect sometime tomorrow night or later. When that time comes, they'll have no choice but to show themselves. And as we transition back to here, we hear, "Alright, no one followed us, and there's no wiretaps. Looks like we'll be able to relax for a while. We should be able to hold up in here until the other boat arrives." And it's here with our crisis temporarily averted. Zeb lets his hair down a bit as he says, "That shit was scary! What the hell's the deal with those guys? They just go around the ship shooting guns and swinging sickles around? Who does that?" As Shaddy tells him, "Stop making a fuss," and he says, "Did you see how built those guys were?" As she says, "Honestly, you really are just a coward, huh?" As even the baby agrees. As he says, "Not you too, young master." As Shaddy says, "Make sure you don't grow up to be like him, okay?" As she adds, "By the way, why'd you even come with me? You had no reason to put yourself in all this danger. You could have just stayed in the new organization." But it's here we see he did it for, specific reasons. But then adds, "Please don't underestimate me. I'm not so rotten that I'd forget everything the boss did for me." And as we transition into a flashback, we hear, right after the war, there was nothing to eat. If it hadn't been for the black markets the family ran, I would have starved to death. As we hear here, "You can have this." As we see that years ago, Shaddy, aka Olka, was the one that reached out and helped him. As she tells him, "Don't tell anyone else about this, okay?" As she left a deep impression on him. As he says, "To this day, I remember exactly how that bread tasted. That's all the reason I need to stay here with you." As we see, that means a lot to Shaddy as well. As Zeb says, "Leave it to me. Even if Harpoon's lackeys come after us, I'll beat them all to a pulp." As we hear a knock on the door and his cowardness shows full force. Even Shaddy's like, "You almost had me there." But it's here as we see it's the director. He tells them, "Earlier you forgot about our secret knock and went close to the door, didn't you?" As Yor's like, "Damn it, he exposed me." As he says, "I'd like the 3 of you to rest up for tomorrow. I'll leave Forger on guard at the door." As Yor asks him, "What will you do, sir?" And he tells her, "I'm going to have a look around this floor. And if possible, thin out the targets." As Zeb says, "You guys really are a piece of work, huh? People are trying to kill you, and you're so calm." As the director tells him, "This is our mission." As Zeb says, "So killing and getting killed is just given for you guys? It's been over 10 years since the war ended. But I guess war is always just lurking around the corner, huh?" And I'll tell you guys now, we will see more of this war later on, and it's going to be pretty freaking sad. As the director tells him, as long as people continue to be people, conflict will never end. Whether it's wartime or peacetime, we're nothing more than soldiers for our countries. As he tells Yor, if necessary, I'll signal with my footsteps. Keep your guard up. And before he leaves, he tells her the most important thing. Concentrate on the mission, or we're all going to die. As we see that hit Yor pretty hard. And it's here as we transition to later that night. A very somber, quiet night. Yor is essentially having an identity crisis here. As she thinks, come to think of it, I was never able to contact Lloyd or Anya. But this isn't the time for that, as she thinks about how this vacation could have went. And it's here Yor starts realizing to herself, the heaviness I felt in my legs might have just been me being scared that I'd get hurt. If those 2 ever see me so badly hurt that I can't talk my way out of it, I won't be able to stay in my home anymore. As she remembers the words that Shaddy told her earlier. And as she thinks about all her loved ones here, everyone that means everything to her, she asks herself again, what am I doing this for? And as we transition to our next scene here, we see Yor's not the only one going through a bit of a crisis. As we hear, "My name's Twilight. I'm the best spy in Westeros. No matter the situation, even in the face of death, I've been trained to always keep my cool. My observation skills, decision-making skills, ability to respond to any situation have been trained to their peak. That's how I've made my way in the world until today." But as he thinks about how much he's failing Anya here, he thinks, "I've gotten ahead of myself. I can't become overconfident based on mere information and experience." As Lloyd says, the root of everyone's fear is the unknown. Death, the evil spirits we can't see with our own eyes. Neighbors in nearby countries. Not knowing who or what they are is what brings fear. Some just accept the fact that these things are incomprehensible. In other words, they act like they don't see them. Others think they know and can label everything, putting their hearts at ease. As he reconfirms to himself, "I'm a secret agent. I don't fear the unknown." As he realizes, no, I fear it as I should, and then deal with it. As he says, "On the second day of this cruise, I will somehow traverse the difficult obstacle before me, which is to make this girl have an amazing time." Now, I decided to keep this scene in, guys, because it really isn't that important, I guess, but Lloyd was really spitting with what he says, if you really pay attention. It was a really nice scene, actually. Lloyd's going through it, too, in his own way. And it's here as we transition to our next scene. It's the start of another beautiful mayhem-filled day. As Anya says, "I fell asleep yesterday, but I need to hurry up and find Mama so I can help her out." But she realizes that telling Lloyd what's happening isn't going to help anyone here. As she says, "I have to figure out a way to lose Papa." But as she sees a sign, she says, "Look, Papa, there's golfing." I don't know why, but adults love golfing. Golfing's fun if you do it with friends, in my experience, at least. As Anya says, "My plan's to sneak away while Papa's concentrating on golf." But as we see Lloyd got a hole-in-one on every hole, I'd say the plan's a bit ruined. As he says, "Go on, Anya, you try now, it's fun." And seeing Anya constantly miss and starts raging reminds me of playing golf with my friends too. As Anya says, "Damn it, I fell for Papa's trap and ended up wasting time. I'll figure out another plan." As we see they go to the library to try to distract Lloyd here. Anya gets distracted by manga. Who doesn't, honestly? She tries to distract him with a puzzle here, but this man's brain is a machine. And it's here we see that throughout the day, Anya might be the one getting distracted here. Because as we transition to the evening, Anya says, "I wasn't able to escape Papa, and now it's dinner time, damn it! Heck, at some point, I forgot about Mama, and I was just enjoying myself." As Lloyd's just like, "Why is she glaring at me like that? You were clearly having fun today, damn it! Did I make a mistake somewhere, somehow?" As he says, "At this rate, the forgers are going to fall apart." And upon hearing that, Anya realizes she's doing a little more harm than good here. As she tells Lloyd, "I am enjoying our adventure, but Mama's gone, so I miss her a bit. I want to be with Papa and Mama." And even Lloyd can understand that feeling. As he tells her, "It would have been nice if York took some time off, yeah." As he has to realize, Anya is still a very small child. And it's here he tells Anya, "Look, she may not be here, but why don't we ask her if she's free tomorrow?" As he tells her, "I'll leave a message with the concierge. Once we get a reply, let's meet up with her." As he adds, "I know, there's going to be fireworks on the deck later. It's the main event for the night, so maybe Yor and the people she's with will go and watch too. There'll be a big crowd, so I don't know if we'll find her, but do you want to go?" As, of course, she says yes. What kid's going to say no to fireworks? Come on now. But as we transition to our next scene, we see that some assassins might want to see the fireworks too. And as Yor suddenly gets a phone call, we hear that was the director. He's received word that the rendezvous ship, they're here. We'll be meeting with them in 4 hours. But we need to get ready now. And most importantly, the enemy's closing in on this deck. So we're going to leave this room and go to another point right now. And as we transition back to our assassins, we hear, it's me. Any movements? As we hear, I've intercepted an anonymous secret message. It's different from the State Security Service's frequency. As he says, all right, I'm sending this to everyone. Stand by at stage 3 positions and ambush them. And as we see everyone on the move here, episode 7 ends. But lucky for you guys, we're heading straight into episode 8, baby. As we see everyone's getting ready for the fireworks to start, and Yor says, for now, let's head to the 3rd cargo room where the rubber boats are stored. We'll lower the boat from the emergency exit at the front of the 2nd deck. Then we'll have the Rendezvous ship retrieve you. If possible, we should do this during the fireworks. As they start sneaking their way through the ship. But it's here! Their scent might have given them away again, as we hear Blue Lace number 89 and Mermaid. They're both famous perfumes, but the combination of those two scents as well as the woman without a scent. One man, 2 women, and a baby walked into a bar. As we see, they found them. And it's here as we transition to Lloyd and Anya. I think Anya's having a pretty good time. As she says, I wonder if we'll find Mama. And Lloyd tells her, it probably won't be easy. As Anya says, there's so many excited voices that I can't tell if Mama's even around. I'm gonna have to concentrate to find her. And it's here as we transition back to Yor and everyone sneaking around. She says, to think that their search could extend this low. And as she tries to go through the main lounge, we see that there's people here as well. As she realizes all the routes to the bow have been blocked. As she says, I could defeat them and make my way through. They might call for backup. As she says, let's head back up to the deck for now. As she tells them, the director gave me a key that opens the crew quarters. Let's sneak out via the roof or other paths that other people wouldn't use. As she says, everyone's busy with the event, so we should be fine. Let's do our best to not make any noise. But it's here as they step outside, and fireworks begin to go off. I think that plan might not work, Yor. As she says, let's use that noise as a distraction to get away. And it's here as they're running along the crew corridors of the ship, we hear, I see 2 with black hair. Is that the one holding the brat? As we hear, yeah, if possible, take the baby out while you're at it too. As we see they have a sniper here. And in this moment, as fireworks go off, he fires his shot. As we see, Yor protected Shaddy and stopped the bullet here. As he says, how the hell did she dodge that? As she even throws one of her thorns up there at him. But in this moment, there's no time to rest, as they're immediately attacked again. As Yor intercepts this one bladed assassin with her bare hands. And actually shatters his knife. But it's here in this moment, everyone starts coming out the woodworks, and we see that they're surrounded. As Yor says, I didn't feel any of their presences. They're all strong. And Yor's not exactly feeling confident right now. As she realizes, we won't be able to escape here. And it's here as our sniper tries to line his shot up again. We see he gets intercepted. As all of a sudden, we see some of the assassins start dropping. As the director says, I was wondering where you were wasting time. He got the sniper. As he ends up shooting the lock off one of the hatches right here, and Yor says, take shelter in that hatch. But we see Yor gets intercepted here and can't guide them to it. And as they're trying to get inside here, an assassin gets to them. As we see in this split second, Zeb grabs Shaddy, and covers her. And as they're falling through sheer willpower, closes the hatch above them. As he says, that hurt! Even with a bulletproof vest on, that freaking hurt, damn it! And as Yor pushes a giant crate on the hatch, they're safe for right now. And it's here. It's time for Yor to get to work. As 3 assassins jump her right here, and she effortlessly kills all of them. When Spy X Family does action, guys, they do it pretty damn well. As we see the director is giving her covering fire here. And as Yor starts fighting with another bladed assassin here, he actually ends up knocking the thorn out of her hand. But in that moment, she stabs him in the gut, grabs it again, and then stabs him through the chin, through the head here. Yor is a savage. And it's here the director tells her, could you try to finish him off without making such a mess, please? It's becoming a pain to clean up after you, you know. As we see, he jumped down there with her. Which, I'll be honest, I think is kind of dumb. I think him being up top, giving covering fire, would have been a smarter decision here. But, whatever. As he tells Yor, they all seem to be proficient killers, including a number of outsiders, with unique fighting styles we haven't seen before. But they're no match for Garden. Having them all gathered up in one spot will work in our favor. Let's finish them all off. And it's here! Our bloodbath begins! Yor and the director are taking out assassins left and right, showing how much better they really are. Blood flying everywhere, death flying everywhere. They're all lambs to the slaughter to these two, as one of the assassins actually breaks one of her needles here, as Yor is forced to take him out with her bare hands. And it's here as one assassin spews poison in her face. They say, this poison's enough to take a bear down. Only for Yor to power through it and take them out. And it's here we see another assassin with strings. A fake John Smith knockoff, I mind you. And they get taken out with ease. And it's here we see another assassin with chakrams, which are spinning bladed rings, as Yor takes him out. But it's here all of a sudden, Yor gets electrocuted from behind, taking that full force, as she ends up taking a huge haymaker punch as well. As she grabs the electric baton with her bare hands, shoves it down this guy's throat, and continuously does like a 35-hit combo on this one dude, like this is Street Fighter. Absolutely destroying him. As she says, damn it, I jammed my finger doing that. And it's here all the other assassins are just like, what the hell are we watching? And it's here in the middle of our bloodbath, we just hear, well damn, you ended up killing all of them, you awful woman. As Yor tells him, yeah, I killed them all. It was only natural. Sorry. Those who point their blade at another can't complain when one's pointed at them. That's a fact. And that includes myself. As he tells her, well, you're earnest. As he says, this just means I get a bigger cut of the money. As Yor says, it might be late to ask, but would you consider just peacefully going home? I'd rather not spill any more unnecessary blood. But he tells her flat out, that's not going to happen. We've already received a down payment, and it's not like we can go home when we're on a boat. And I'm pretty sure that old guy over there isn't going to let us leave. I wouldn't. As the director's heated, saying, this lot considers war just another way to get paid. If we let them go, they will harm our country somehow. As we hear, you're old-fashioned, Mr. Soldier. You should learn a thing or two from the West. Money is power. Everyone's happy when we're all rich, right? As the director says, to be a businessman, you truly lack foresight. You can regret playing with fire while the sharks are eating you. As we hear, nah, you're the ones who's going to end up as shark bait. And it's here in this split second, they suddenly get attacked by a mysterious foe we haven't seen before. And he's the biggest threat yet, as he hits the director hard with the sheath of his sword, sending him flying and knocking him out. And it's here when him and Yor start fighting, he knocks her other needle out of her hand, making her defenseless. And as Yor intercepts his blade with her shoe, he's overpowering her, as he says, don't struggle, you're just drawing out your suffering. As she realizes, he's on a different level from the others. And my legs are heavy again, as Yor is tired. And it's here we see the director had a backup plan in case something happened to her, as we hear, in the event of your death or a wound too severe for a cover story to account for, I'll tell Forger that you've been transferred. As Yor says, if I disappeared without saying a word, What an awful woman I would be. As we see, she is getting pushed back here. As our assailant says, little girl, if you're afraid of dying, then retreat now. As Yor says, I won't let you lay a finger on Olka or the others. As our leader says, sucks being at the bottom of the ladder, huh? If you'll yield, I don't mind giving you a cut. I'd rather not get hurt anyway. As Yor says, I don't want to cut. Don't be ridiculous. As he tells her, I'm not being ridiculous, though. This is a very serious business discussion. You're just like us. You put food on your table by killing too. As Yor says, don't compare me to you. But then suddenly stops. As she was gonna say, I'm doing this to support my family, but realizes that's not right. As she says, I guess I'm also doing this for money, huh? But I make enough to survive now. I'm hunting down bad guys for my country. But then realizes again that that's not true either, actually. What am I doing this for? And in that moment of hesitation, he slices at her with the blade as she trips on her heel here. And he absolutely rocks her, sending her flying. The biggest hit we've seen Yor take in the entire series. As she got rocked. And it's here, he's preparing to finish her off. As Yor starts thinking, he might actually kill me. What should I do? And it's in this moment, instead of worrying about herself, we see that her mind starts wandering to her family here. As she says, my head hurts. I think I'm a bit tired. And as Yor starts thinking about Yuri here, she says, Yuri's grown up so much. You can survive on your own without my help now. I don't need to kill for a living anymore. As our assassin says, it's over. Finish off Olka and the others. But Yor stops him in his tracks. As she thinks, Olka, why was I acting as her bodyguard again? As she remembers what Olka said to her earlier, and she completely understands why. As Yor finally realizes, the reason I started this job and continued this job, life had gotten so hectic that I had completely forgotten. Was it for money? For my country? It was, but it wasn't. I just wanted to protect his simple life. There are many unreasonable sacrifices in the world. To make sure I don't add to them, to reduce that number by even one, I need to thoroughly cleanse the world. As she realizes things aren't going to change, now more than ever. As she has a new family to fight for. And it's here in this moment, she grabs the blade with her bare hands and says, I don't need peace. I don't care if there's blood on these hands. As she snaps his sword in two. Even if I live a life in which I'm bound to be killed sooner or later. Even if I have to leave the Forgers. As she remembers the moment that Lloyd changed everything. As she remembers him saying, be it for someone else, or for a specific reason, having to endure a merciless job. That's something to be very proud of. As I don't think you guys realize just how much that meant to her back then. As she says, I'm sure Lloyd will acknowledge me. He'll forgive me. As she absolutely rocks this assassin's rocks, man. Holy shit. As Yor's caught her second wind here. As she says, I will not give up this fight. And on that note, our episode ends with another cliffhanger. And as we got to the end of this episode, guys, I remembered the manga did the exact same thing. They ended a volume of the manga right here. And I just remembered that. I thought we'd be done today, to be honest. Fuck. They're blue balling us to the extreme. But what a phenomenal arc this is for Yor, man. The amount of development Yor is getting is immaculate. We've needed this for her for so long, man. So many people were crying about that in the first season. And that's a justified complaint. And this arc is just doing her so much justice here. We are really breaking her down. And I love it. It's great. Spy X Family is such a great series. And these episodes are showcasing exactly why. So I would love to hear your thoughts on these episodes down in the comments because they have just been fantastic. So until next time, guys, I hope you all have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day, and I'll see you all in part 3, our finale. Deuces.